It's 11 o'clock.
Hello there, in here, out there, all around the world, and all the ships at sea. My name is Doug, and I welcome you back to another Inkquiring Minds live stream, now for April 5th, 2025. This is my birthday month. Yay! I'm celebrating all month. And I'm going to celebrate today by showing you some new pens, some old pens, and we're going to talk about all things related to fountain pens and hopefully no politics. Except, yay Canada, go Canada. Welcome to all of you. Thanks for joining me today. I've got a lengthy agenda of stuff to talk about, and we're going to share back and forth with our chat. You have to let me know whether you can hear me, whether you can see me. It was really embarrassing last month when I talked for 15 minutes and people in the chat were saying, yeah, not so much. And I went over and looked, oh, there was a button I needed to push to go live. I've only been doing this for a year, folks. I'll get the hang of it sooner or later. We'll see. So let's see who's here. Let's open up our magic mirror and see who has joined us in the tickle trunk today. We've got Kevin Landon. Hi, Kevin. Good to see you. And there's Harry Shivakumar, all the way from England. Hi, Harry. Good to see you. Hari, I should say. It's Hari, not Harry. And there's Enzo. Here we go. Enzo, he is a member of Inkquiring Minds, and he gives me quite a chuckle all the time. I work on these resurrections, and I work for days and days and put the video together, and I click to go live for members only, and bing, I get an inbox message within seconds, and Enzo says, I want to buy that pen. So if you want to hate on someone who's stealing that pen that you wanted out from under you, it's Enzo. Hi, Enzo. Good to see you. There's Chaz. Chaz Mena. I can hear you. Good to see you, Chaz. And there's Oscar Medina, all the way from Mexico. Hey, brother. Good to see you. Brothers in arms. And there's William Catalano. Hi, William. Good to see you. Let's see if this feature works too. A lot of this using OBS to live stream to YouTube is voodoo, because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and I have no idea why. So let's try some of this stuff. This is 2 thumbs up, and that worked. Okay, so we're going to get some of our effects. The other thing I like to do is to click on people's chat here, and it should come up below here. So tell me if you get this. Here's Beth. Let's click on. There we go. There's Beth G. Doug, I received the pen and pencil the day after my birthday. I love them. Good for you. Congratulations. So that worked. And who else is here? I know I saw Copper Plate was one of the first ones here. Let's scroll back. Some of you guys joined about a half an hour ago. And let's see, George Richards is here, Stephanie Deneau, Russell Bickford. Hey, Russell, I think you were the first live person in. And of course, Copperplate 69 all the way from Germany. And D is here from Germany as well. Renset Kadzi. I can't pronounce your last name, D, Die. But it's good to see all of you here. Let's scroll down and see who else has arrived. There's Wendy Sue. Hi, Wendy Sue. Good to see you. Michael Menzies. Has spring sprung in your part of the world? We had our usual teaser of some spring-like weather back in March and thought we were done with the snow, and over the last 2 weeks we've had dump after dump of snow. But today is the day that all the snow is going away. We're getting plus temperatures, sun. Tomorrow we're going to have a barbecue in my backyard in some plus 15, plus 16 degrees Celsius weather. So welcome spring. There's Mikey from Minnesota. Good to see you, Mikey. And Brad Martin from Massachusetts. Massachusetts, there's a word to lift your hat to quote the great Emily Dickinson. Michael Menzies says we bypass spring and have already hit the 90s as highs in Texas. Jealous of the snows, and so are we. Yeah, but you'll have to pay 25% extra for that snow. There's Eric. Hello, afternoon. Good to see you, Eric. And then Chaz from the medieval state of Florida. What is the state of Florida? Flux? Influx. T. Bayless is here. We need some rain in Texas. Had some this morning, but not enough. So I have got an agenda for you guys today, as always. Let's take a look at our agenda. Keep chatting amongst yourselves. You can call. There he is. Cheshire Cat. You're a Cheshire Cat, D. And there's Mad from Louisiana. I'm mad in You're mad in Louisiana. Okay, so the agenda. Let's take a look. So today, April 2025, we're going to look at what's new, what's old, what's new old. And I'm going to talk about some Murray's moments that are coming up. And something special coming from Murray. A couple of things special from Murray. And then we're going to talk just a bit on tariffs on Chinese pens as it pertains to selling things across the border that are from Chinese origin, because there's some news on that front as well in terms of shipping things across the border into the United States. Then we're going to look at some questions that I've received for Doug's mailbag. And just remember to remind me, if I don't get back to that, we have to give away 5 free memberships to the Inkquiring Minds channel before we leave today. And of course, mark your calendars for the next live stream, May 3rd. I'm hoping that we'll have some warm temperatures by then, no doubt. So, what's new? What's coming up? What videos am I going to be releasing soon? Well, in terms of new pens, let's go to my desk and you will take a look at this gorgeous fountain pen. Maybe I should turn on some lights. There we go, that helps. This is a Leonardo Magico in a wonderful new color called Amethyst. There were 2. This is from Gold Spot Pens, Tom Odo at Gold Spot. Wonderful guy, very, very, very supportive and pleasant. And there were a couple of pens that I asked him for. One was the Bennu Pixie that I reviewed last week, or the week before, I can't remember. So he sent me that Bennu Pixie because I knew everybody was going to be really looking forward to that review. But he also sent me this Amethyst from Leonardo, the Magico. There were 2. There was a grayish color and this Amethyst lavender color. And I asked my wife which one she thought I should review. And she pointed immediately to the Amethyst because Amethyst is her birthstone. So, of course, it has arrived, and it is a beautiful piston filler. This has chrome trim and has a medium steel nib. I've already got it filled up. I've got it filled up with J. Urbain poussière de lune. And translating poussière de lune for you folks from French to English is moon pussy. No, it's actually moon dust. So look forward to that review coming up. And I think this pen might actually be staying here and not go back to Gold Spot pens, because I think my wife is in love with it. So give her what she wants. What's next? Let's see on my list. Ah, yes. You'll see this review this morning. I usually don't post a video review on a day that I do a live stream because it's a lot of stuff to do all in one week. But I was able to review this beautiful pen and put that video review up this morning at 8 a.m. my time. And it is the Sailor 1911 Light. Now, don't even get me into trying to describe all the different models and names and versions of various sailors, because it just makes my head explode, as I said in my video review this morning. What's the difference between the Light and the Standard? Well, as far as I can tell, the only difference is that the Light version has a 14-karat gold nib, whereas the Standard has a 21-karat gold nib. This is a beautiful fountain pen. The reason I asked, this is from Applebaum, by the way, this Sailor, and I asked Yost if he would send me one with the zoom nib, because I'd never tried the zoom nib before, and I thought, well, people want to see it, I want to see how it writes, and it's like a magic marker. It writes so thick and juicy. But by changing the angle and flipping it over as well, you get all kinds of fine lines out of it too. So it's very versatile if you're into sketching and you're into drawing, or you're into kanji characters. So if you write Chinese or Japanese characters, this is like a sumi brush, I guess. So beautiful pen. It's a bit small for my hand. It posts beautifully. It's made to perfection. My biggest bugaboo with this pen was that it doesn't come with any cartridges and it doesn't come with a converter. So I could, because I don't have a Sailor, I sold my Sailor, I don't have a Sailor converter and I don't have any Sailor cartridges. So when I pulled out of the box and wanted to write with it, I had to dip it in some ink to try it. So that really kind of pissed me off. I thought, well, at least they should be giving you one cartridge. Now, I've had a comment on that video already this morning saying that they received their Sailor with cartridges. So maybe Yost is hoarding Sailor cartridges in his desk and, sort of taking them out of the box of the brand new ones to rip you off for a couple of cartridges. It's just the kind of guy Yost is, that he'll run and rip you off for one or two little Sailor cartridges. I know he's a nasty, nasty human being. But I thank you very much, my friend Yost, for sending me this gorgeous fountain pen. You know I'm kidding. I kid. I tease. I kid. So, and now we have to go over to let's go back here. We have to go over to my computer to show you what the next new pen is, because it isn't here yet. It's going to come here on Monday or Tuesday, and I'm looking forward to that. Let's see whether I can get it up. Oh, that's what she said. Oh, gee, we have to do that.
That's what she said.
Okay, so let's go over to my computer here. See whether you can see this. There we go. So this is not $14.38. This is a Wingsong Junlai large 930 resin piston fountain pen with a number 9 nib. So this pen has a number 9 nib, and it is a huge pen. That's why I bring this photo up here, so you can see the difference between the 628, 629, 630, and 930. I have Wingsung 630 right here. Here's my 630, and compared to the Sailor, you can see how much larger it is. This is the size of a Mont Blanc 149, and this is one of my favorite fountain pens. This has a number 8 size, 14 karat gold nib. This was not an inexpensive pen, but I don't think I paid more than $150 for it US. The one I'm getting, the 930, is even larger than that with an even larger nib. So people have been looking forward to that. And I have been looking forward to it as well. I should receive that pen next week at some point. So let's go back to our comments here and see what people are saying. Enzo says music nib. Yeah. I have tried no, I haven't tried a Sailor music nib. I've tried a platinum music nib, and they're very interesting nibs. They're very similar to stubs, but I've not tried the Sailor. Wendy Sue says, yeah, they usually come with cartridges. I agree. I was a bit surprised that there was no documentation and there was no cartridges. I know they don't come with a converter. I bought a converter on Amazon. TJ says, everybody knows how mean Yost is. Yost. Got to say his name properly. Yeah, he's a mean guy. He seems really nice on camera and very friendly, but before we shoot a live video, he's really nasty to all of his guests. Yeah. Yours is still stuck in China. Yeah, mine has actually made it to Canada, and it's going through customs. They'll write with it and test it for about a week, scratch it a little bit, then put it back in the box, take all the ink cartridges out and any converters and stuff like that, and then send it on to me. That's what Canada, the Border Patrol in Canada does. They write with all my fountain pens before I get them. Who's Dub? You're talking about Doodlebud. Yeah, he's a mean man too. And yes, you're right. Doodlebud is Canadian. He's from Vancouver, but don't hold that against him. You know, Canucks fans, they're crazy. Hari says, it's new pen day for me as I got an Opus 88 demonstrator through Cult Pens. I got a 1.5 millimeter stub, which I'm looking forward to trying out. That's a big, thick stub nib, and you'll enjoy it. The Opus 88, they make some really, really nice fountain pens. I don't think I own one anymore. I had a couple of Opus fountain pens, but I've sold them. I've got to get another one. The Opus Bella, I think it was just a bit too fat. And my one problem with Opus 88 is it takes 14 turns to get the cap off. Of course, I exaggerate, but not much. Do you have any information about Leonardo Furore Grande 2.0? I do not. I have a Furore Grande. Let's go to the desk. This is my Furore Grande in Smeraldo, and this is not version 2. This isn't even version 1. This is version 0.75. This is a prototype for the Furore Grande model, and Salvatore Matrone sent this to me as a gift. The newer ones, version 1, are probably better than this. This is a beautiful fountain pen. I mean, it's just gorgeous. I know it won't focus, but beautiful, chatoyant. And the nib is fantastic. But because this was a prototype, the nib is glued in. The piston is glued in. And so there's no way for me to service this fountain pen short of, well, I can't. I just have to just keep rinsing it out. So I'd be interested in seeing the 2.0. I would assume that he's added an ink window to that. Is that what's happened with the 2.0? Is anybody saying about the... Sadman Islam says, Doug, I love your videos. They've helped me in selecting fountain pens. My favorite pen is the Parker Sonnet and Platinum Preppy for daily use. The Preppy is a nice, useful little pen, isn't it? Especially if you do the eyedropper conversion on it. Get a little O-ring, add some silicone grease, and you got like 3 milliliters of ink in that tiny little pen. Parker Sonnet, I've got a fake Parker Sonnet, and I've tried a few real ones. They're just a bit slender for me, but they're beautiful fountain pens as well. They have lovely nibs on them. Mikey says, if the Furore Grande had an ink window, I would own one. I think I would too. I really like the Momento Zero Grande 2.0, and it has the ink window, of course, and that's very, very useful. So I would expect at minimum, if there's a new Furore Grande 2.0, that it has an ink window. Again, I keep asking for a Momento Zero, not the Grande, but the Momento Zero in a piston with an ink window. That would be terrific. I'd own several of those if they did that. So let's go back to our agenda here. And we're going to look at what's old. So what's coming up in Pen Resurrection Sunday? Let me look at my list. Okay, so let's get this one out. So you'll see this tomorrow. I'm actually going to grab the box because this came with the box as well. This is a Schaefer Targa. Comes with the original box. Came with a nice note from Janet Trott. She sent me several vintage fountain pens for me to work with, and one of which was this Schaefer Targa from roughly between 1976 and the early 80s, something like that. This is a 1000 XG, and its issue, look at that beautiful nib. These beautiful inlaid gold nibs. Its issue was that it was leaking along the edges of that gold inlay. And that is symptomatic of these pens, regardless of what it is. A Schaefer PFM, whatever pen, Imperial, uses these inlaid nibs. People have complained over the years that they tend to leach ink out of those seams. And so if you hold your pen down near the nib, you'll get ink all over your fingers. So Janet sent me this fountain pen to see whether I could repair it. Well, the nib needed some repair work because it was scratchy and a little bit bent, so I fixed that. But the big deal was getting that nib assembly apart, which is not easy to do. I almost gave up trying to get this section off. This is a cartridge converter, and the section separates right there. And I spent a couple of hours and some wear and tear on my hands trying to get that apart. And I finally did, and I was able to use, get this, Captain Tolly's Creeping Crack Cure to seal that nib and fix it from leaking. I didn't know whether I was going to be able to do it or not. I'd seen this repair before, done by Steph over at Grand Mia Pens. He has a wonderful video on how to do this. So I had watched that, and I thought, maybe one of these days I'll give it a try. And so the first time I tried it, it worked. It was a long process of fixing this pen, but I'm glad to say it was successful. This pen will be for sale starting tomorrow. So thanks go out to Janet Trott for sending me this beautiful Schaefer Targa for repair, and she donated it to my channel. Thank you so much, Janet. She also sent me this Parker 51 Aerometric. It doesn't have much wrong with it. The nib needs a little bit of work. It needs a little bit of sprucing up. It's an Aerometric. I'm thinking that I might keep this in reserve and maybe do a conversion on it so you can use a regular cartridge, Parker cartridge, with this pen. I've done a few of those conversions, and I'm waiting for parts from India to do more. So she sent me that pen as well. And next up is this. Now, those of you that are watching Pen Resurrection Sunday will recognize this pen because just several weeks ago I restored one. Only this one has no clip. So the clip is broken off, but it's identical to the other one. This is an Esterbrook J from the 1950s. And this one has a really gnarly nib. It's kind of twisted up and bent. And so I thought, well, let's go over and see whether I can get a new Esterbrook nib on eBay. And do I have... I'm just going to look over here to see whether I can pick up my photo of it. Talk amongst yourselves while I search my computer. Yeah, okay, well, I'm bringing up some photos here. Yeah, of some other pens that I'm going to resurrect. So let's go over to my computer, and you'll see some of these. Those are questions. So there is a Parker Vacuumatic, Silver Pearl. There is a Parker Vacuumatic, Golden Pearl. And there is a Parker Vacuumatic, Blue Pearl. So I was lucky enough to, and there's one more. There's a double, let's see what I can find it. Yeah, and there's a Black Pearl. So, no, that's not it. Anyway, I've got 4 Parker Vacuumatics on the way, and they should all arrive probably all on the same day, next week, in 2 weeks or so. I bought 2 at the same time from the same vendor within 5 minutes of each other. And one of them has a broken nib on it, a broken tine, and I'm going to try to carve that one into a stub. I've been successful at that before. And but I also got one of each. I got the gold, the silver, and the azure blue. So look forward to those pen resurrections coming up. But what I can't find right now is I went to eBay and I found a replacement 20, I can't remember what the number is. And I don't have my magnifying glass. Yes, I do. 2668, something like that, medium nib. So I've got a replacement nib coming for this Esterbrook J, and it's in this lovely copper brown color, celluloid. So I'm going to be restoring this Esterbrook coming up maybe next week, but in the meantime, I had a fellow Albertan reach out to me, and basically I've got him to join our Calgary Pen Club. Even though he's from Lethbridge, we'll allow him in. But we do have virtual meetings in our Calgary Pen Club. So every couple of weeks we'll have a Zoom meeting. And so Ivan is going to join the Calgary Pen Club. He sent me a note saying, well, actually I sent him a note, because he was asking who will repair this Esterbrook J from the 1950s that belonged to his late mother. And I reached out to him and said, you know, you're in Lethbridge, you're a member of the Calgary Pen Club, send me the pen and I'll see what I can do. And it is a lovely example of an Esterbrook J. I don't know that Ivan is with us here this morning. If you are, your pen is hopefully in good hands here, but the nib is in really good shape. So this is what I was worried about. These steel nibs sometimes are mangled beyond repair, but it needs a new sack, it needs to be polished up, the nib needs a little bit of adjustment. So I might just work on this for Ivan, his late mother's fountain pen. It means a lot to him, and so I'm going to try to do that. I do want to have the caveat that I don't do repairs, adjustments, and things like that as a professional. I consider myself an amateur, a hobbyist, but I've done several of these Esterbrook's. They're relatively easy to fix if you've got the right tools. And so I told Ivan I would look at it for him. So that's coming up as well. And let's go back to our chat and see what people are saying. David E. Pearson says, what does a broken fountain pen in a politician and a politician have in common? Neither one has a point. Humor only us pen enthusiasts will appreciate, right? That's good. I like it. And he said, a pen doctor, I think you mean, from Madrid showed up on my doorstep to repair my pen. I looked at her and I said, I wasn't expecting you. She looked at me and said, no one expects the Spanish ink physician. Nobody expects the Spanish pen ink physician. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm fine. Don't worry. No worries. Okay. Like a little bit of humor, so to go along with my PG tips. Excuse me, I have to drink my tea with both hands because I'm old. Okay, that's good. PG tips. Okay, so I mentioned in the agenda that I was going to talk about Murray for a moment. So let's talk about Murray's moments. Murray has been on a European tour with his wife for about 5 weeks. I think he was gone, all through Europe. And those of you that don't know, Murray is the president of our Calgary Pen Club, and I call him our Grand Imperial Poobah. He has an incredible collection of fountain pens, and he's eager every time I'm at a pen club meeting to push some of his pens on me. You need to review this. Have you reviewed this one already? You need to review it. So even within a few seconds of me sitting down at the table, I've got 4 or 5 pens. Try this one, try that one. And so I had a number of his pens that I reviewed recently that I had to return to him now that he was back. And so I got out my case and returned his pens, and I think I returned 3, and I got 4 in return. So I always leave with more pens than I came with when I see Murray. So I a number of months ago, I started this Murray's Moments segment where I'll review pens that Murray has graciously loaned me from his incredible collection of pens. So I wanted to show you what he's pushed on me. This was last weekend. And so let's go to my desk and I'm going to show you what's coming up. Oh, wait a minute. Before I show you a pen, I have to tell you, Murray agreed with me that we need to do an interview. Some of you have already asked a few times, when do we get to meet Murray? How do you become a friend of Murray? Well, you have to get into his inner sanctum. So I'm going to take my camera. I'm going to go to Murray's place in the next couple of weeks, I think. And I'm going to interview him in his office. He has a library office. Murray's a lawyer. And he has some terrific bookshelves full of books and other shelves full of vintage pens and shelves and shelves and shelves of fountain pens that are extraordinary. So we're going to look at some of his pen collection together. I'm going to interview him and ask him several questions, and I'm going to post an edited video. I might actually disguise his voice and put black tape over his face, maybe blur his image or something like that, because he doesn't want anybody to find him. And I agree. He doesn't want people knocking down his door saying, show me that pen, sell me that pen. So look forward to that, because I'm going to be doing that interview coming up in the next couple of weeks. But let's go back to my desk here, and I want to show you this. I should have horns and music. Dun, 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 dun. This is a Grail pen, folks. Now, some people hate them, some people love them. I have never even touched one, and I've wanted to touch one for several years. This is a Waterman Edson, and it's in the best Waterman Edson color. This iridescent sapphire blue barrel that looks like it's translucent, but it's actually lac over metal, enamel lac over metal, with this gorgeously designed clip. They don't make these anymore, folks. And it's hefty and beautiful. But this is, now it's going to be, it leaches ink, and I'm going to clean it up a little bit so you don't have to see all that ink leaching out. But there's that incredible inlaid nib. Look at this. I don't think there's anything like this on the planet. And not only is it this beautiful, posts incredibly, but it writes like magic. And, you know, I'm literally shaking. I have this pen in my hands, and I've been writing with it for several days. And I know when I see Murray again in a couple of weeks, I'm going to have to make some offers on this. He says he might be interested in selling it. He has two identical ones. So it's the only reason he would sell one. So we'll have to see what it will take. Heather, my daughter, if you're watching, I might have to give you to him as my firstborn, because that's what it'll take to get this pen away from him. But I just have fallen in love with this pen, and so I can't wait to review it. I usually do Murray's Moments as a series of short reviews all in one video, but this one's going to get a video all by itself. So there's that. Ugh. My heart goes into my throat when I see that. Then there's this. This is a Visconti Ragtime. And I think this is about 10 years old. And it's in a celluloid. Look at that celluloid. It's like purple and emerald with that. And it's a vintage look, right? It's a captured converter, I think. Or is it a piston? No, it's a captured converter. So you take the blind cap off, and it has this permanent converter inside. But Visconti does an homage to the 20s with this ragtime 14 karat gold, beautiful fountain pen with hints of 1920s. And it doesn't match, but it is the rollerball of the same model, the ragtime. And as rollerballs go, this is a beautiful pen. So I'm going to do a review of the Visconti ragtime pair. And then Murray pushed this on me. This is a Pilot 845. And this is a late model pen as well. I think this is about 10, 15 years old. Beautiful number 15 gold nib. Cartridge converter. That's the Con 70. And I gotta say, it's very comfortable in the hand. And posts a nice big pen. And it writes, as you can imagine, like butter. It's like butter. But this one caught my eye in his case. He said, have you tried this one yet? I said, no. Is that a vintage pen? No. This is not a vintage pen. This is a reissue of the Sheaffer Balance from the 1990s in this gorgeous acrylic, red ruby acrylic. This is the Sheaffer Balance 2 with a beautiful 14 karat gold stub. I know you can't see it because my camera won't focus, but that's a stub. And this is a beautiful fountain pen. And sorry, I'm wrong. It's not a stub. It really is an italic because it's very, very sharp. But you write with it the right way. This is a gorgeous fountain pen. When Sheaffer reintroduced and did homage to its original balance that turned the world on its head back in the 1920s and 30s, they did an excellent, excellent job. They made it modern, but kept all of the vintage elements of this pen. So look forward to that review. I think I'll do a review by itself, this one, and the Edson. So that's what's coming up in Murray's Moments over the next couple of months, maybe the next month. And thanks go out to Murray for loaning me those gorgeous fountain pens. My heart's still beating about that Edson. Incredible pen. I can understand why they don't make them anymore. They probably don't sell enough of them to warrant the manufacturing costs. And I know they had some issues with their performance, not in writing so much, but it's that same inlaid nib problem of the nib leaching ink. So let's go back to our chat and see what everybody is saying. Here's Hari saying Murray has some wonderful fountain pens. Some of them are unique to him, absolutely. Some very, very interesting things. He's been collecting fountain pens for decades, and he literally has thousands of fountain pens. But now that he's retired, he's starting to cull his vintage, not his vintage, but his fountain pen collection. So all the people in our group are saying, I'd like this one, I'd like that one. He's like, yeah, well, maybe that'll be the last one that I give up. So there's quite a few special pens in his collection that'll never, never be sold. Enzo says the Balance 2 is a little delicate. A lot of these pens crack. Unfortunately, they are beautiful. Looking at, I'm not sure, is this acrylic? Yeah, that's acrylic, not celluloid. And it's not that thick, so I can see why it might be delicate. I'll try not to break it. But it's one of those Sheaffer Feather Touch nibs as well, gold. Beautiful pen. Stefan Deneau says, Doug, ask Murray for a Waterman Liaison, and the triplet Edson Liaison Carène is a great lineage. I think I've heard of Liaison. I'll have to make a note. Ask Murray about Waterman Liaison. I will. No doubt he'll have one or two. Christiane Pruckner says thousands. Yes, thousands. Probably 1,000, if not more. Hey, VJ. Good to see you. What do you think about the Noodler's safety pen? I've never tried one, and I don't think I want one. Stefan says the Liaison is supremely elegant. The section is absolutely unique. Terrific. I'll have to look it up. $2.95 on Drum-Goolies. Thanks, Mikey. $2.95 at Drum-Goolies. Carens are masterpieces. I'm ashamed to tell you how much I paid for this Waterman Karen. Excuse me. In marine amber. This is one of my favorite fountain pens. Sorry. I think I paid $140 Canadian for this on Amazon. And the next day it went up to like $250 Canadian. But beautiful, beautiful pen. And they have a great, if you get your hands on or can purchase a Karen and it doesn't have the nib that you want, so it has a fine, you want a medium or whatever, just don't write with the pen. Register your pen with Waterman in Paris and call their customer support. And they will exchange the nib you've got with the one you want. All you do, they send you the mailer, they pay for it. It goes to France, they do the exchange, they send the whole section back again to you, the one that you want, and it's paid round trip by Waterman. And there's no charge. So that nib exchange program is fantastic. So if you find something brand new, has to be brand new, if you find a Karen that just doesn't have the right nib for you, just don't write with it right away and register it as a new pen and do the nib exchange. Wonderful customer support. Now that was 3 years ago. Whether they've undergone any changes or not, I don't know. Excuse me. Sorry, the vocal cords are starting to go. And KD5BYB says, totally unrelated to current topic, but the vacuumatic restoration I'm undertaking after watching your video is going excellently. Wonderful. Good for you. The first couple of vacuumatics that I did, once I had my vacuumatic extraction tool from the Inky Nib, Scott Polly's tool, took them very, very slow and was very, very reticent because you don't know how things are going to behave. But after you've done a few of them, you understand what temperatures things can go to on a celluloid pen. So you know not to go to any extremes and how much patience you need with being able to get it apart. But once you've sort of mastered those timings and those temperatures and how to use the tool properly, it becomes almost routine. Now, every time I say that, I say, well, this vacuumatic is going to be routine. It'll bite me in the ass in some way or another. So the nib will be gnarly in some way, or the vac will be glued in rather than normal. It should not be glued in. So I've run into a few of those lately where the pen looks like it's going to be an easy restore and it ends up throwing you a curve. But they are very satisfying pens. I think I'm in love with the Parker Vacuumatic. I'm doing so many of them because they're really popular with you folks. Excuse me. People keep asking for them. They restore so beautifully. they take so much ink, and they're robust. I'm always surprised at an 85-year-old, 80-year-old fountain pen coming up feeling and looking like it's brand new. The workmanship of Parker in the United States from the 1930s and 40s is beyond reproach. It's just the kind of quality that they were making back then. You just don't see it today. Russell is waiting on a Visconti Opera pen being delivered within the next few hours today. I paid like a third the retail price. Well, if you can get an Opera for a third the price, that's great. They are big, beautiful pens. I've got a couple of late model Viscontis. Nothing as gorgeous as the Opera. Maddie says, the Parkers have to act out to make each episode have a different twist. Yeah, they just want to wreck my hands is what they want to do. I have to give so I'm going to restore a couple of Esterbrook J's over the next couple of weeks just to give my hands time to heal from trying to get these pens apart. The Schaefer was hell. And the last two Vacuumatics I did were hell as well. There's Kenzie from Poland. Hello, Poland. How are you today? Have you got spring yet up there in beautiful Poland? David E. Persons says, a friend of mine gave me a 1951 Parker 51 that was his mother's or grandmother's, and it writes like a charm. I got to tell you, when I first tried Parker 51s, I wasn't really enamored of them, and I thought, because they're stiff, and the one I used anyway was wrote almost like a ballpoint, and you can't see the nib and stuff. But the more I've been using the Parker 51 Vacuumatic and some of the Aerometrics as well, the more I've fallen in love with them. They're just so well built. And the other thing about collecting them is they made so many of them over the years. They made them for like 20 years, and there's so many out there that they're easier to collect. It's the same thing with the Vacuumatic. They were made for like 10, 15 years, something like that, and there's a lot of them, and so it's easier to collect. Another pen that's really easy to collect, if you're into collecting vintage fountain pens, is the Schaefer Targa. They made these forever, and in huge varieties of colors and models and so forth. People just love them. They're really, really slim, so they're very 70s kind of pens. But there's so many of them out there that if you want to collect a Parker pen, a Schaefer pen, then this is the model to collect, because they're not only a huge number of them, that makes them relatively inexpensive. So you can get some really nice pens for very little money comparatively. KD says the Esterbrook J pens are excellent values, and in my humble opinion, a great starter pen for restorers. I did about 5 J's before attacking the Vacuumatic. Love the J's. Yeah, all you need is a latex sack, a sack spreader. You got to make sure that the pressure bar isn't rotted, and you have to know how to heat the section off without destroying the pen. So rule number 1, if you use a heat gun, be very careful. I always put my fingers next to what I'm heating, and if my fingers get too hot, then the celluloid's getting too hot. Go really, really slow. A hair dryer works for if you're going to do your first celluloid fountain pen review. Use a hair dryer rather than a heat gun, and take it slow. Chaz says, my father-in-law left Cuba with a Parker 51 in his shirt pocket. He was a teacher at the University of Havana. Now it's in my pen chest. What an honor. Yeah, a lot of these old fountain pens, when they belong to people that you know and love, become cherished memories but they're not just memories. You get to use them because they're so well built that you can use the pen your mother or your father or your grandfather used and keep it working. And every time you write with it, you think of them. So it's a really nice thing to have. That's why I'm going to be very careful with Ivan's mom's Esterbrook J. And this is a beautiful blue color. So that's going to polish up nicely. So I'm looking forward to that. So we're coming up on the hour. Let's go back to our agenda here for a moment. And we've talked about Murray's Moments. Let's now talk about the elephant in the room, shall we? Tariffs on Chinese pens. This is going to be a narrow subject of discussion. I'm going to try to keep myself on track, and I'm going to try not to go into rant mode. So I try not to do that. So here, this is the news. There is, let's see whether I can find it. I've got all these screenshots. I have some questions. Talk amongst yourselves while I find this. Let's see whether I can click and talk at the same time. So I use a shipping service called Chit Chats here in Canada. I abandoned Canada Post when they went on strike and their rates doubled. It's just not fair to charge $35 to send a pen from one province to the next. And it only costs $15 to send it to the United States. And so this new service called Chit Chats is basically a broker. And what they do is the only downside is I can't just drop it in my mailbox. I have to drive it across town, my package, if I want to send it to the United States, and drop it at their office. And it's about a 20-minute drive from here. But still, even at that, with all the gas and everything, shipping a pen to the United States right now is about $10. And it's about $12 in Canada. So more expensive to send it across town here in Canada than it is for me to send a pen from here to California, for example. So unfortunate, but let's go all windows. Here we go. So I found it. And let's go back to my desk, my computer, I mean. And here is the thing that I got from Chit Chats. And it's a note that came just after the tariffs were announced. Section 321 remains for goods that are not made in China, Hong Kong. You can continue to ship non-China origin goods from Canada to the U.S. duty-free with shipment retail value is less than $800 U.S. However, starting May 2nd, this is the important thing, de minimis will no longer apply to goods made in China. Our team is looking for further clarification. We'll continue to keep you updated, blah, blah, blah. But that means that after May 2nd, you folks in the United States, even if I send you a pen that's $10, you're going to pay 25% or 35%, I guess is the rate going against China right now, duty on that. So a lot of people, when I talked about the tariffs on some pens that I thought last month, I said, you guys should probably buy these pens before the tariffs come in. Otherwise you'll pay more. A number of people said, no, you're wrong, because it's only purchases over $800. And if you're buying a Chinese pen over $800 or $800 worth of Chinese pens, you're going to be paying by the ton. But no, that was correct. Starting May 2nd, that's no longer the case. So anything, doesn't matter how much you spend, coming into the United States from China will get that, whatever China's tariff is right now, which I think is 25 plus 10. I think it's something like 35% right now. Whether that means that the Border Patrol in the United States will check whether one pen sent.
It's 12 o'clock.
Thank you, it's 12 o'clock. One pen sent by one person to another person in the United States is going to be checked and tariffed. I don't know that they have the infrastructure to do that, but it does mean that any retailer in the United States that is selling anything that is China/Hong Kong will get that tariff, regardless of whether you buy one pen or $800 worth of pens. So that's what I wanted to mention, is that there may be a surcharge on things starting May 2nd, anything coming from, say, Canada to the United States that has an origin of China. Now, I don't think that they consider Taiwan China. I'm not sure. Who knows? I know that the Taiwanese don't consider themselves China. And so that means pens that are coming from Taiwan are things like narwhal. Narwhal are made in, it may be a U.S. company or U.S.-based company, they're made in Taiwan. Excuse me. But that also brings up the question of what makes something made in another country. Say you buy a U.S. pen, and let's think about Edison pens. They're made in Ohio, a totally U.S. company, fantastic pens. Bring one out and show it. Might as well. Since this is a pen show after all, isn't that gorgeous? This is my Elysian from Edison Pens, completely made in the United States. If you're in the United States and you buy this pen, will you get a tariff on it? Will he have to raise his prices because that nib is not US? So that is a German nib. So will it go up by 10%? Because, and I don't know what the tariff on Germany is right now. Maybe they're getting something like a 25% tariff. You have to add it all up. But everybody's getting a minimum of 10 in the world. So that nib is made in Germany. So will they tariff that? I don't know. It might be a good idea for you if you're going to buy only from the U.S., if you're in the U.S., and you want to support your U.S. makers. Anyone from the Carolina Pen Company to Edison Pens or whatever U.S. made pens, write them a note first, or write your retailer and ask, is this a fully American pen, or do they use German nibs? So there are many brands like Jaffa brands that have American companies like Conklin, but 90 some odd % of their pens are made overseas. So they're going to be subject to a tariff as well. So it might mean you have to do your homework if you're in the United States now. Yeah, Sam says it's 25% on German products. Okay, so thanks for that. Have to say goodbye to Hari. You're running out of battery. Go charge it. Take care. See you later. TJ says the EU is 20%. Is that all of the EU? Or are there specific tariffs for every individual country? Whoops. KD says, oh wait, I think only some Sean design pens have USA made nibs. The Monarch, yeah. I've never had a Sean design pen, but they are a US company for sure. Russell got his Visconti. Congratulations. Yay. There you go. So wouldn't the maker pay the tariff on the nib? Yeah, but you know they're going to pass that on. So if they're going to pay 25% more for importing German nibs to the United States, they're going to pass that cost onto you in the price of the pen. There's no question. Guys in this administration can't read a map, so they need some time to learn to read. Mistakes will be suffered by all of us, of course. Well, if you're a penguin now, you'll have to pay 25% more for your fountain pen. Just wondering, is there an island somewhere that just has pelicans? And maybe pelican pens will have to pay a tariff. And when your people realize how they came up with the rates, yeah, this, thanks, Christy. Yeah, that formula they came up with all the delta symbols and stuff, what a bunch of bullshit. That was, I laughed out loud when I saw that. When you cancel everything out, it ends up being trade imbalance divided by exports equals a percentage divided by 2, that's your tariff. And it had nothing to do with tariffs. What a bunch of crap. God, that was funny. Okay. Enough about that. Let's not talk about, because it starts to get political. This is not political, folks. This is economic warfare. It is not political. The U.S. has declared economic war on Canada, and not just economic war, but threatened to take over our country. And we Canadians take it very, very seriously. So let's give a thumbs down to all of that, because Canada is a sovereign country. We do not want to become the 51st state. Let me state this very plainly. Okay, let's do this. You've done it. You've turned on the rant sign. This is my rant. We Canadians up here in Canuckland, we love you Americans. So I'm speaking to all the Americans out there right now, even the ones that vote against their own interests. It's not you, folks, because when we meet you one-on-one and when we travel, not anymore, but when we travel to the United States, you folks are so marvelous. We have been the best neighbors on the planet for decades and decades. We share families, we share companies, we share history. There are blended families across that border, back and forth. And so we as Canadians love you. Your administration, no. So it's similar to China. So I know a lot of people and speak to a lot of people in China. They're marvelous, wonderful, generous human beings. Same thing with Russians. Just because you live under a regime that is a totalitarian dictatorship doesn't mean that you're not a wonderful human being yourself, right? So it's the same thing with Americans. They're wonderful people. They just happen to have a totalitarian government in charge that's declaring war on everybody. They want to take over Canada because we have huge resources. Okay, I can understand that. We're very valuable. Greenland has strategic resources. The Panama Canal has strategic resources. So from Panama through Mexico to US and Canada and Greenland, you take over all of North America. That's hegemony, right? That's the North American alliance. We're not going to be part of that. So we reject all of that coming from the government in the United States, and we are banding together the only way we can by linking arms together and saying we're just not going to take it. And so I've canceled a trip to the United States. I will not be traveling to the United States in the foreseeable future, probably not in my lifetime. I've been invited to a number of pen shows in the United States. I was going to go to the Pacific Northwest, not going anymore. All of my purchases are happening inside Canada, or I will support Mexico, or I'll support the EU. I have some very good friends as retailers in the United States. I got a lovely note from Tom Odo of Goldspot Pens saying, we love you guys in Canada. We love you as customers. Thank you so much for being our friends. But I, as a consumer, can't buy from the United States anymore. You keep your hands off my country and we'll talk. So that's my rant mode for today. I knew I wouldn't get through this without ranting. So that's it. No more politics on this channel, I hope. And again, it's not politics, it's war. It's economic war. And so politics goes out of the window when you threaten my life. And that's what's happening. You're threatening my life. So, done. Let's move on to the next part in the agenda. And it is, yes, it is Doug's mailbag. Where's Doug's mailbag? I have a video for that. There it is. Doug's mailbag. So yes, let's go to my computer and we'll start looking at some questions, because I had some people sending in questions to me today and yesterday. Thank you very much for sending them. And I just got to bring them up. And here's one. And I have a couple of comments that I'm going to show as well. And there we go. Sorry for the delay. Let's bring this one up. This is Madeline. I'm dying to know what goes on at pen club meeting besides drooling over Murray's pens. Are there officers and minutes? Are there formal presentations of your currently inked pens? Do you wear a fez or some other exotic hat? Are there snacks and crustless sandwiches? Any spiked punch? Share the deets. Name like nobody else. Thank you, name like nobody else. I will try to answer your question. We have a pen club meeting coming up in about an hour right now. I'm not going to make it today because I don't do it while I'm doing live stream. I don't go. But they'll be meeting in a coffee shop this afternoon in the north of the city. We alternate a location in the north, a location in the south. Calgary is a very large city. It takes more than a half an hour to get from the south to the north. And so every other week we'll have a meeting in a coffee shop in the north, and every other week we have a meeting in a pub in the south. The pub in the south is the one that I go to, and there's no formal meetings, there's no minutes, there's no agenda. People get together, have some food, have some drinks, and try to get a large area of tables so we can lay our stuff out. So you bring a pen case with you. Here's my pen club case that I bring with me. It takes like, I don't know, 20 pens. And so I bring various pens and I just start passing them out. And they go around the table and people write with them, pass them on, write with them, pass them on. Say, oh, whose is this? Who belongs to this? And we all sort out at the end who belongs to what pen. It's very informal. It's a lot of fun. We have probably about 10, 12 people at each meeting, depending on the weather and so forth. Last week, I went to Pen Club here in the south, and we were at a local pub called Bitter Sisters. And Murray was there, Stephen was there, there were some new people there. Sally Soros, who does Sally's pens, Sally's nibs, was there. And there were a lot of laughter, a lot of camaraderie, and a lot of sharing of pens. And I went a bit gaga over the Edson and said, I'm taking this, I'm taking this. So yeah, there's no punch. There's no snacks other than what you buy. We don't wear funny hats, except I always wear my ball cap one way or another, because I don't like to blind people with the shininess of my bald head. No formal presentations, other than some special times, like at Christmas we get together when we have a Christmas party. Last Christmas we went to Murray's place, and there were some kind of presentations of gifties around and so forth, that kind of thing. and at the Pelican Hub. We all get together once a year at the Pelican Hub at a local stationery store, and there's giveaways and door prizes, and Murray makes presentations of all kinds of things. So nothing formal other than special occasions. And it's really easy to become a member of the Calgary Pen Club if you're in the Calgary area. So that means almost all of Alberta. You just email Murray, and he'll put you on the mailing list. So should I give everybody Murray's email address? Probably not. But if you're in the Alberta area, email me at inkquiringminds@gmail.com and say you want to join the pen club. If you can get here, like for example, Stephen Brown, SBRE Brown, lives in Red Deer. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours north of Calgary. Every so often he'll drive south. Sometimes we'll take the whole pen club up to meet him. But he's in Red Deer and he's a member of the pen club as well. So send me an email if you're in the Calgary and vicinity and want to join the pen club, and we'll get you on the mailing list. So thank you for that question, Mad. I appreciate that. Name like nobody else. And here's another question. Let's go back to my computer and make this one larger so you can read it. How do you decide what types of pens you will restore? How much does personal preference, experience, or the fact that you already have the tools parts play a factor? And 2, what is your favorite story of enabling someone, loaning or giving them a fountain pen only for them to get hooked? Thank you, Eric Neal, for sending me that question last night. How do I decide on what pens to restore? I go to eBay mostly, and I just look at interesting pens in a price range. So if there's a Parker Vacuumatic on eBay that is currently selling for over $100 US, I won't even look at it. If it's selling for under $100 US, I'll take a look at it and see what condition it's in. If it is in sort of dingy condition, unrestored, so it's got a potential to be a pen resurrection, something I can work with. For example, the black double jeweled Parker Vacuumatic I just purchased, that'll be here in about a week or so, had one of the tines of the nib is snapped off. So it was selling for quite a bit less. So it started the bid at something like $30 US. I think I got it for like 60. But here's a broken pen. Not only is it unrestored and has no diaphragm in it, but one of the tines is broken. So it's not usable by ordinary people. But I've been able to restore nibs like that in the past, where I can carve those into stub nibs that write very nicely. So that's a potential restore. It's a challenge for me. Same thing with things like these Esterbrooks. If you see these Esterbrooks selling, they're relatively inexpensive pens, these J's. If it's unrestored and it looks like the nib is in good shape, because these steel nibs aren't worth that much. If the nib's in good shape, then yeah, I'll pay $30 US for this pen. So it has to be a potential pen resurrection someday challenge for me. And it has to be economically worthwhile. So generally eBay. I also go to antique stores. There's a really lovely antique store locally here in Calgary where I picked this Esterbrook up. And there's a guy there, one of the vendors there, that's always supplying vintage fountain pens. I got this Schaefer desk pen at that vintage antique store. This is one of those imperial nib kind of things. It's a it's a Schaefer touchdown. So you fill it like that, and this is kind of broken, needs repair, and it came with this marble desk set, and so it looks very nice. So I'm going to restore this, And the interesting thing about this is that's a Schaefer and that's a Parker. So it's a Schaefer Parker desk set. So I found that interesting, something worthy of a pen restore that people would be interested in seeing. So that's the first criteria. Is it going to make a great video? Am I going to be able to work on something that people will find fascinating? And it has to be economically viable for me. Will I get my money back on making that investment? And tools and parts, you asked about, do I have the tools and parts? Yeah, so that's the other thing. If there's a pen that it needs repair and it's something that I've not done before, depends on the price. Am I willing to learn to try to fix that one? Again, this is a hobby for me. So learning new things is part of the challenge. So yeah, I might pick up something that I haven't got a tool for and do some research on how to fix it. The second part of your question, Eric, was what your favorite story of penabling someone. I haven't really penabled anybody other than my kids, I think. I've handed fountain pens to them, and they dabble in it. They've not gone down the rabbit hole. My son really enjoys a couple of the fountain pens I've given him. But one of the most satisfying things that happened in sort of penabling world was at one of our pen club meetings. I think it was the Pelican Hub 2 years ago. There was the son of one of our members came, and he's like 9. His name is Eric, and he was thrilled to meet me because he watches all my videos. Oh, you're that guy on the YouTube. Yeah, yeah. And so he was showing me his fountain pens, and he said, I just saw your review. It was the Hongdian 100th anniversary, or the thing that looked like a samurai. I can't remember the name of the pen, but it's a great, big, heavy, beautiful, jeweled fountain pen. I just done that review, and he said he was fascinated by that pen. So the next time, I actually emailed his dad and said, I'd like to give this pen to Eric. And so we made a big deal about him dropping by to my place, and I handed Eric that pen he was so enamored of in the video. And I subsequently met him again at another pen club, and he showed me the pen, how he's working with it, and even how he's mixing his own colors of inks together. So he was already penabled because he was fascinated by fountain pens, but I penabled him even more by getting him to get into starting to mix inks and really play with his fountain pen. So that was very satisfying. I did a whole video on that. So that answers, I hope that answers your question, Eric. Thank you for the question. I did get a question. No, this wasn't it. I did get a question. Oh, here it is. I found it. Let's bring it up. At the intro clip, why did you blob some drops of ink on the paper and then smudge it? My answer is I was dotting my I's. And that's, I don't know why I did that. But in my intro, I get a lot of questions about the intro. It's fascinating what people ask questions about, something that I didn't think twice about. But that pen that I use in my intro is my Leonardo Momento Zero Blue Hawaii. This was my first Leonardo. It has a steel broad nib that I had Jack Hernandez cut into an architect. And so I love this pen. It's one of my top 5 pens. And I did the intro years ago now. This has got to be 4 years ago now. To Inkquiring Minds by scribbling on a piece of paper with my Momento Zero with the architect nib. And I get a lot of questions about what's the ink. The ink is Jet Urbain Kyanite du Nepal, which is a beautiful azure blue, matches this pen beautifully, and has a silver shimmer to it. Gorgeous ink, if you get a chance to get that ink. So thank you for those questions. And Christy says, I have that pen. Good for you. Isn't it a gorgeous pen? The Momento Zero and the Furore from Leonardo, this one in Galaxy, are two of the models that I think are unappreciated. Everybody goes for the big pens and the special pens and so forth, and I've got a few of those. But this Furore in Galaxy is just such a gorgeous pen, and so affordable with a steel nib. And the Momento Zero, I've got 3 Momento Zeros. This one in that, I can't remember the name, Pietra, something like that, Marine Pietra. This one has a stub nib on it, a Leonardo stub. These are gorgeous fountain pens, unappreciated models as far as I'm concerned. Why didn't I use red ink in the intro? I'm shocked and outraged. Well, red ink generally means deficit. And so starting off my video channel, my YouTube channel in a deficit situation isn't great economics. So, and plus blue is my favorite color, even though I wear a red hat. Hey, copper plate, there you are. Got a small Leonardo MZ Blue Hawaii, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, they are beautiful, beautiful pens. And the other thing that they've gone away from at Leonardo that I don't appreciate is this, what I call the milk bottle top section. So this, move all these pens out of the way. Whoops. There. So this section right here, that milk bottle shape, now I'm dating myself by calling that milk bottle because that's the way milk bottles used to be back in the 1960s when I was a kid. Milk bottles were shaped like that. So it has that smooth step down. I really, really like that. And they phased it out when they made the Momento, not the Momento, when they made the Magico, which people said was the Momento Zero with an ink window. It's not. But they used the Mont Blanc kind of section on it. And although I appreciate that section, it's nice and comfortable and everything, it's not as nice as that section as far as I'm concerned. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So thank you for that. Gloucesterman, hello there. Sorry if you already mentioned it. Sorry if you already mentioned the answer. Do you have more pens coming up for sale soon? I have vintage pens for sale. Certainly that Targa that I restored tomorrow in Pen Resurrection Sunday is for sale. There is a Parker Vacuumatic Debutante for sale on my Wix page still. It's been for sale for 3 weeks. So that's available. I'm not sure I'll be doing another pen sale other than maybe selling other people's pens. So anything from Gold Spot that needs to either go back to Tom or be sold, or pens that I've got from Applebaum that need to go back to Yoast or can be sold before I send them back. I'll have them for sale. This pen here that I reviewed this morning, the Sailor 1911 Light, is for sale by Applebaum. And I'll sell it for him, and I'm selling it for 25% off. So yeah, there are some of those, but a large sale of my own pens, of my own group of pens, I won't be doing one of those probably for several months. I accumulate a number of pens and then need to get rid of some and do a spring clean kind of thing. And I'll sell pens like that. So it's like every 6 months I might do that. But I'll let everybody know when that's coming, of course. Thank you for the question. Leonardo Mosaico Magico Mango is my big love. The LMMM. You like that pen. I appreciate the Mosaico, but I'm not enamored of that particular finish myself. Russell says also teachers usually use a red pen when correcting papers. People don't correct papers anymore. So back when I was teaching, and I'm retired 11 years this, what's it, April now? Yeah, so 11 years next month. I'll have been retired from university teaching. And in the last 10 years of me teaching, very little red pen. I mark projects because I would teach drafting and drafting projects and lighting projects using materials that are drawn. And so I'll mark on those in red. And handwritten exams and quizzes I'll mark. But essays and things like that are all electronic. Excuse me. And a lot of the marking is done electronically now. And so you're not seeing those red pens as much anymore. Jay wants to know whether Ovechkin's going to pass Gretzky tomorrow. Of course he is. It's a given. He sets up shop in that left-hand face-off circle, and it's in the net every game. So, yeah, tomorrow. You're welcome. Excuse me while I drink. Christian, question. Hi, Doug. I just bought a Wingsung 930 with a number 9 nib in broad. Do you have any plans in reviewing it? Yes, Christian. Send it to me, and I will review it. I'm just teasing. Yeah, I have one. It's in Canada Customs right now in Burnaby, BC. Today is Saturday. I expect it'll be here by Wednesday or Thursday, depending on whether the border agents are finished screwing up with it and writing with it. When they release it, I'll get it. Chaz has to go. Good to see you, Chaz. Thanks for joining us. Sloppy hug from us in Miami. No one wants sloppy hugs. Sloppy kisses, yes, not from you, Chaz, but yeah, sloppy kisses are better than sloppy hugs. Science has boosted plagiarism to legendary levels. I know. I have lunch once every couple of weeks with a colleague of mine from the university, and he lets me know what's happening on the university front. And all I can say is, thank God I'm not teaching anymore, because it's not teaching anymore. It's a transaction. You show up in my class, you show up on my online, I check the attendance, you pay your money, and I give you your A+. If I don't give you an A+, I get raked over the coals as a professor, and no one will take my courses. Yeah, that's just horrible. Just horrible. Thank you, Chaz. Memberships. Yes, Wendy Sue, thank you. We're coming up on the end of this. Let's go back to our agenda. And Doug's mailbag membership giveaway. So before you all leave, folks, I should do this earlier in the agenda. Next month, I'm going to move membership giveaway to the middle instead of just to the end, because we start losing people at the hour-and-a-half mark. So, are you all sitting tight? Let's see how many people we have online right now. There we go. I have to see where it is. We have 67 people here right now. No, we have 74 people here right now. Fantastic. Let's give away some memberships. And how do I do that? I have to learn how to do this every month. Memberships. Gifting. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's give 5 away. And let's see what comes up. Norwegian Tinkerer was gifted membership. There's Miss Marilyn Darling. Hi, Miss Marilyn. Good to see you. Miro Nia Ch was gifted a membership. Kiwi Birder was gifted a membership. Blythe Tretic was gifted a membership. Congratulations. And Leo was gifted a membership by Inkquiring Minds. Good to see you too, Miss Marilyn. Thank you for attending. And congratulations to all the new members. What that means, if you haven't been a member before on YouTube, it means that for a full month, you will get membership benefits, which means you'll get emojis, badges, sneak peek unboxing videos from me, and you'll get instant access to my videos when I post them. This is most significant when I do the Pen Resurrection Sundays, because I'll sometimes do those resurrections, post the video, say on a Monday, and members get to see that video for a full week almost before the Sunday when it goes public to everybody else. And that gives members a leg up on everybody else in being able to be the first one to purchase that pen. So your membership is free for a month, but then you need to renew it if you want to continue after that. And you can renew for the minimum price is 99 cents a month. Sorry, there's a tariff now on that. It's 99 cents, so it'll be $1.24 or something like that for you people in the US, because I'm exporting my YouTube channel to the US, and it has to go through the. I'm just teasing. We kid. We laugh about these things, because if we don't laugh about these things, we curl up in a ball and cry. So, we laugh. We jest. Yes. And I want to remind all of you that the next live stream is May 3rd, Saturday, again at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Set your calendars for that. You people in Europe, I apologize, but this seems to be the time that I can get the most people in to the chat. I appreciate you folks that are in Europe and even further over in India and so forth that come to these things, because I know it's very late at night for you. Well, isn't that nice? Jay gifted an Inkquiring Minds membership. Let's see if I can bring that. No, it didn't. It won't bring it up. But he gifted a membership to Lone Star. Isn't that nice? Bye, Christy. Thanks for coming. Doug, be aware that the Pilot C845 in your desk is coated in Arusho lacquer. Yes. Here it is, being very careful. This is a gorgeous fountain pen. It goes in the special pen case that's felt lined, my Italian pens pen case. It's a very special pen. Yes, you're right. Other than fountain pens, what other rabbit hole collections do you have? Mine is pocket knives. Yes, I have one pocket knife that Oscar Medina sent to me, and I use it all the time. I don't need any more than that, so I'm not down that rabbit hole. But I do have several guitars, as you see. So I fell down that rabbit hole before I got into fountain pens, actually. So I think I have 10 or 11 or 12 guitars at this point. And I think that's going to be it. I hope that's going to be it. Yeah. And people collect pocket knives. Other rabbit holes that pen lovers tend to fall down are wristwatches. Seem to be very popular with pen people as well. But this is my current collection rabbit hole. And I was telling Murray the other day that if his collection is extensive. And he said, I love sharing it. He gets a lot of joy about coming to the pen club meetings and sharing his love for these pens. For me, I collect all these pens because I do reviews. And so if I wasn't doing these YouTube reviews, I don't think I'd have quite so many pens. I'm pushing 250, maybe more pens. I keep trying to cull them, but I think I'm at about that, and I keep acquiring them. So if I wasn't doing this online, I would not be. Oh, I got someone at my door. Oh, I'm receiving a pen. Well, my wife is going to go get the door. Maybe I'm getting a delivery of my Wingsung 930. Anyway, we're getting to the end today. I want to thank all of you for joining me here today. There are 66 of us still here. I really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you again next month in May, on the first Saturday in May. And until then, it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from him. Enjoy yourselves, keep your pens wet, and we'll see you next time. I'll keep the chat open for you guys to say goodbye to each other. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.